Welcome to Rip It Up. Every now and then, we see a certain house that stops us in our scroll and makes us want to completely redesign our own homes. In this series, we're picking 6 iconic homes, some that recently went viral and some that have stood the test of time. We'll be discussing design elements, colour palettes, items we love, things we would change, and breaking down how to recreate the look on a more realistic budget. This is Unpacking Iconic Homes. Welcome back to the podcast. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Jen.
We're on episode 2 of our new series of Unpacking Iconic Houses. We did Jamie Lang and Sophie Haboo's beautiful house last week. And by popular demand this week, we're doing the Nancy Meyers suite of houses.
Yeah. They definitely all follow a similar theme, don't they?
Yeah.
That kind of, I don't know, understated wealth.
Yeah.
lived in, cozy. And then I think some of the older ones are probably dated interiors, but still nostalgic for a lot of people.
Yeah. If you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, so Nancy Meyers is a movie producer and a director, and she did so many iconic films over the 90s, the noughties, the late 2000s, even up to recently 2015. She did Something's Gotta Give, which I think is one of my favorite movies, Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson, and The Holiday, where the cottage, everyone just, I don't know, I'm obsessed with that cottage. I love it so much. It's not real, that cottage. Do you know that?
The amount of people that think that's
not
real. And I even saw videos where I stayed in the Holiday Cottage. You're like, no, you didn't, because it's not even real. It's just a set.
He couldn't possibly have. The mansion in LA that Cameron Diaz lives on, the outside is actually real. It was designed by Wallace Neff, who's a famous Californian architect, but the cottage isn't real. I was devastated. And one I love, it's complicated.
I love the kitchen.
With Meryl Streep and Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin. I just love the interiors in that one. It's so beautiful. And then other ones, older ones, The Father of the Bride, The Parent Trap. Those ones I found a little bit dated, but I have to say, going back to Something's Gotta Give was 2000, 2003. And looking through the images, The Holiday was only a few years later, 2006. And looking through, that's 20 years ago more, and looking through the interiors of this, I really did not get a sense that this is dated interiors.
Yeah.
It's held up so well.
It's so timeless, I think, and it's just so classic in design. And I think even in the last 5 years, would you say, over kind of this side of the pond, that kind of style has made a bit of a resurgence with the likes of Duval and, plain English kitchens. I think I love the Nancy Meyers aesthetic, especially in kitchens, but I think it needs to be scaled a little bit for our houses over here, because they're definitely big American houses.
It's for big American houses, you're totally right. And also though, if there's such strong themes running through every house, and we'll go through them and kind of break down what they are and maybe how you can recreate them in your own home. But there is also slight adaptations for every single one, and it's very much reflective of the location that it's in, which I really, really like.
Leaning into that kind of beachside, if it's beachside, and it's bright and airy, and then the cottage is so cozy and nostalgic and stuff everywhere. And I feel the cottage, and it's not the same, don't get me wrong, but that feeling of the Carrie Sex and the City New York apartment with stuff, and the stuff is the kind of personality in it or something. That's what I feel like at the cottage.
But I think with all of them, so I'm going to start with Something's Gotta Give, because I just love that movie so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
So that was set in the Hamptons, and I feel all her stuff it's so neutral, and neutrals are everywhere, and it's all the wood and the off-whites and the linens and the textured materials and everything. But I think it's because of her. Well, it's her. She's got a really strong style. Her mother was an interior designer, and she worked with a bunch of interior designers across movies, but Beth Rubino is the one that's quite consistent across the movies and probably drove a lot of those looks.
Yeah.
But it's it is so neutral. There's very, very, very little color in this. It's all layered, off-whites, beiges. And then what works and why it works so well is because it's very layered. There's a lot of textures come in through it. There's linen curtains everywhere. There isn't an inch that isn't panelled or has a cushion on it or has a lamp. It's lamps everywhere. Do you know, there's stuff everywhere, but they're all very, 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 very neutral, except for a couple of contrasting accents. So she does have probably not black, but really maybe dark browns.
Yeah, dark woods
coming through
for sure. Dark woods,
like
and also like
worktop.
Dark like antiqued brass and stuff. Do you know, pendant lights or something like that? Like there's that kind of old worn feel, and I feel there's a lot of similarities and, you know, differences between the one we did last week and this week. And one thing that's similar is you won't find a fake version of a material in any of these houses. They're all, you know, natural brass, or, you know, real wood, or real marble on the countertops, or wood floors, or slate tiles, quite popular as well in a lot of them. So all kind of like natural, slightly imperfect and worn in and lived in, and really gives that sense of like, these kitchens are used, this house is used, you know, it's plush and homely, but it's still like, oh, wealthy and kind of somewhat opulent.
Yeah. Well, we start with her kitchens because there's similarities across the kitchens, I think. So I'm going to put up pictures here for anyone who is watching, if you're watching on YouTube. But there's a theme, the very strong theme running across her kitchen. So again, we're talking about very neutral, with the contrast in, and then with the, you know, real metal, brass, or whatever it might be in the handles.
Yeah.
But there is stuff everywhere, and it's all, everything that's being used in a kitchen is out on display.
Yeah. Cookbooks on the countertop, curtains across the window. Like, who has curtains in their kitchen? But like, you know, there isn't some of these. And like, it's just stuff. You know, it's just worn in, lived in, but for some reason that little bit of mess actually still works, you know, still looks really nice.
And that's why I think it works, because it's not, it's obviously curated. So it's the stuff that does look nice, but it is the stuff that you actually use. So it's not just these like clay pots that I'm like, what are you doing with 20 clay pots in your kitchen? Yeah. It's like, it's the hanging up, it's the hanging saucepans. It's like the spatulas in a little, you know, in a little jar sticking up. It's the plates that are actually used, piled, like not perfectly, maybe a little bit messy, but then they're all very uniform, you know, in colour, or at least they go well together. It's like the coffee pot, it's the kettle, but it's not manky appliances with wires everywhere. Like, it's nice stuff, but that you are reaching for every day. Yeah.
And we say that when we're talking about like our kitchen episodes, where we talk about like shelves and open shelves. And like, I would say half the people that ask me for an open shelf, I'm like, do you want an open shelf? Like, what are you going to put on those shelves? And I think they have to be like, you know, things that look nice, but also things you use. And it's not just a display shelf, because I feel like if it's a display shelf, you're just taking stuff down to like dust it every day. So like, that's a really, I don't know, I think these kitchens are such an excellent example of this, like pots and stuff that you'll take down every day. Your more used kind of plates and stuff down low, and then maybe cake stands you use like less up high, you know, but they're still nice to have out in a shelf, but not hideous plastic stuff or water bottles and stuff.
Yeah, your nicely curated stuff. There's also, we were talking about this before we started recording, bowls of lemons. Like, there is bowls of fresh fruit everywhere. I don't know how they're dealing with the fruit flies. We just won't get into that, but there's bowls of fruit everywhere. There's herbs everywhere. There's plants, flowers, fresh flowers everywhere, all over the houses, if you notice, throughout. And it looks great, but big bowls of stuff. And I love the coziness of that. I love the invitation to just kind of reach for something, help yourself. Like, it's very welcoming, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I would say my favourite of the kitchens is probably Something's Gotta Give, just because I think it's still pared back. I think it's white or off-white, but are the countertops like black in the Something's Gotta Give?
They look like black granite, don't they?
I'd say it's because it's America, it's more than likely soapstone, because that's a really common countertop material in the US. And it's kind of it's black, but it's kind of dusty black, almost like it's not as black as granite sometimes. And I don't know, I'm thinking
of a warmth through it.
Yeah, and then some of the other kitchens, she tends to have like Carrara marble as well, which I think is always a nice option.
And always honed. It's never shiny. It's always like honed marble, which I love the look of. And I'm seeing in her kitchen tiles here, like just kind of basic white kind of subway tiles.
Basic metro tiles, And I like all the hardware there's hardware, there's always hardware on the doors as well. And the hardware is always visible. Like they're butt hinges that are visible, not modern hinges. So like those little details all add to the kind of layering. And that's something similar in like the likes of Deval kitchens as well. The hardware plays such a part, I think, in the kitchen. It's not just about the door.
I really like that. Again, it's all very utilitarian in a nice, inviting way. Like everything's on show, everything is kind of there to be used.
It's always arranged as well. Talking about utilitarian, it's always a range. It's never like a high up oven. I don't think there's any with a high up oven anyway from memory. I think they're always like a range, a big wide range with gas burners. Yeah. You know, the real sense, again, that someone cooks here as opposed to just for display, you know.
A big extraction hood over it, like all very touchable, you know, there's no kind of flat press button screens here. Like it's all very... there's a high affordance to everything. It's like, again, very inviting. It asks you to kind of touch it and use it and interact with it, which I love. I was desperately looking up paint colours just to be like, what paint is it? But Beth Rubino, who's the interior designer, said that a lot of the colours are formulated specifically for film. And we always say that in our podcast. Like you always say, you get asked a lot, like, what colour is this? What colour is this? And the answer is useless. I love the way you say that, because it's going to look different in your house, and that's such a good example of this. Like what looks good on film and on TV doesn't look good at home. But we will go through at the end like what kind of paint colours could be used to recreate something like that.
But I also think even in the white kitchen, and something's got to give, it's probably not white. Like it's probably an off-white. It's very unlikely to be an actual white. Like, so it's always going to be some sort of version of an off-white or something like that. And I think, you hit the nail on the head. Like no two off-whites the same in two different spaces. So like, it's just, you just have to try them all, see what fits your space. And then like, work around your light and all that. But also I think lighting is interesting here. It's very diffused. I don't think there's any down lights in any of the kitchens that I've seen. I wouldn't.
No, there's a couple of under cabinet lighting, which I think is gorgeous. I'm just looking here at the living room, right, and something's got to give. There's 5 lamps that I can count. Yeah. So like, and it's true of all of the interiors that go throughout all of her movies. There are lamps everywhere. I don't think there's any overhead lighting. I think there is all diffuse lighting coming from lamps dotted around the room, and that's gorgeous. I could not love that more. I'm so into it. And like these days, it's easier and easier to do that, even if you don't have plugs everywhere, because you can have smart lighting. You don't need to have it wired to switches. You can use rechargeable lighting, which of course you do have to recharge them, but they're getting better and better. Yeah. So it's a very replicable thing to do. Like I'm looking at the cottage here as well. Like
so true. The cottage does. It has one pendant by the door.
Yeah, like, but it's so dim. It's really dim, and it's like an ornate kind of Middle Eastern-y type of design. It's like there's 5 lamps dotted around the place. Like it's.
Can we talk about the cottage? Because that is very. I think this is very different. Obviously, because it's not US. It's based in England or whatever. So like I think it's a bit fussier than her US versions of houses. The cottage, but still that kind of cozy lived-in space that you feel like you can kind of, you know, like an Airbnb, you can just arrive and pick stuff off the shelves if you want.
Like you're kind of starting with less of a blank canvas, because cottages like that, there's stone walls, there's already a lot of texture in there, there's wooden beams, it's a lot smaller, so you're kind of cramming things in. The kitchen in the cottage, like the same thing, it's open shelving. If she doesn't have open shelving, she has glass cabinets on upper cabinets, which with everything out in display. Like obviously everything there in every kitchen is curated for the movie, but there's nothing up there that I wouldn't reach for and use on a pretty regular basis. It's not ornamental. It's not purely ornamental.
Yeah. I think the cottage looks like fire hazard to me, if I'm honest. Most cottages are. Just this huge fireplace here, open fireplace, and a wood kitchen with a wood dining table in front of it.
That's a very good point. And then Christmas what do you call it, garland just hanging up there over the fire, waiting to and attach that then to the curtains that will also go on fire, and the place will go up in about 10 seconds. But no, it is very different, and I feel even the cabinetry here, like the wood knobs and stuff like that, it's less refined and obviously more cottagey, obviously. But like even in the living room of the cottage, it's all like pattern. There's a lot more pattern, I think, rather than just texture. There's like clashing patterns, and there's the florals, but there's also like a bit of a distressed rug and stripe on the sofas, and one of them, I think, the stripe on
the stairs there as well. And I think one of the sofas is striped or something. But there's such a mishmash of kind of patterns and colours compared to, I think, the US big homes are more, I don't know, pared back and minimal but layered.
Yeah, like she did have patterns, I would say, throughout all of the houses, but they're not created with color. They're just created with texture typically, or maybe a tiny bit of color. Like in Something's Gotta Give, the house is in the Hamptons, and she does have that nod to the kind of coastal Hamptonsy beachy vibe with a little bit of blue, tiny bit of blue coming through. Like there's blue in the rugs, a tiny bit of blue in like the cushions and stuff like that. But a lot of the pattern is coming from paneling, from texture in the fabric. It's not coming from colored patterns. Whereas the cottage and the holiday, you're right, it does lean a lot more into colored patterns, which is very different, cozier. It does lead to a more cluttered feeling, doesn't it? Because, well,
I'll tell you which house I'd pick, because I think the cottage would send me into overdrive now. I'd be like clearing off a lot of that stuff. But like that's just the way I am, and I like to have like some spaces clear or whatever, or else I feel like I always want to put the kids' toys away as soon as they go to bed, so I can just sit down and relax when there's a lot of stuff out. I'm like, why is that stuff there? If I'm not using it, then put it away.
You put that away. Yeah.
Bar a few nice shelves besides that.
But I'd love to do just side by side. If you see the cottage, the holiday, like Rose Hill Cottage and the holiday, and if you see the living room from Something's Gotta Give or from It's Complicated, which both feel much more pared back, I think it's because of colour. I think it's because I'd say there's as much stuff out. I just think that there's a lot more colour brought in, even though it's still not a lot of colour, and it just feels more cluttered because of that.
What do you think about the windows? This is interesting because I think a lot of her kitchens especially are all kind of like timber frame windows. Do you know, there's a lot of detail in the windows. Like none of the windows are like minimal glass pane windows. They're all like, they've all some sort of bars on them. Usually they're timber. A lot of them are black frame on them, but some of them are white frame as well. But like, it's definitely more like timber windows and that kind of traditional style there as well, I think.
Yeah. So even in her kitchens, you're right, she has kind of curtains on her kitchens. Every window is panelled, every single window. I've never seen a not panelled window in any of the houses she's done, like, and pretty, extensive panelling. French doors everywhere, French doors inside, French doors outside, French doors, like, is there anything other than French doors except for maybe the odd internal kind of bedroom door?
Yeah. Can we just look at like this room and Something's Gotta Give? Like, look how far away they are. Like, look at the size of this room. Like when we say we have to scale down for Ireland, this is what we mean. Like if you put in, like,
I'm going to say they're 9 or 10 meters apart.
Like that room is 10 meter ginormous. Wide room. But even in Ireland, some of their biggest homes, I don't think we have very many rooms this size. So like this, what I'm saying is like, we need to scale everything down, and sometimes it's hard to scale this style down and not still get the same opulence or something. Do you know, sometimes I feel like when you scale down those real traditional sofas, they look a bit granny. So it's hard to take on exactly this style, but you can definitely take on the palettes and like the pared back kind of, more layered with texture, like you said earlier, rather than layering a pattern and stuff like that. But it's difficult to replicate the full style of this in the scales of the houses we have at home, I think.
Yeah, you need to strip back, maybe about 30 to 40%, I think.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the sofas for a minute and the chairs? Because every single sofa that I can see or chair has a kind of a skirt on it. What do you call that? Like it's covered.
Do you know, as in you can't see the feet?
You can't see the feet.
But look, some of them look like loose cover a lot of the time, which is kind of common enough in beachy houses, but they're all traditional shapes, I find. Like they're not really modern shapes. Like I know exactly, I'd be going to Finland for any of these sofas, and I know both of our sofas are from there, but like all those traditional shapes, that's their bread and butter, I think. But I think they're all is this like a removable, are we talking about removable covers here that you can pull on and off and wash?
Definitely. I suppose in beach houses it makes so much sense. You've got sand everywhere, sand's such a nightmare.
But I think
I'm looking at every single house, every single living room that I can see has that kind of covered.
Oh, the LA skirt. Mansion. Actually, this is something that a lot of people, and I watched The Holiday for the first time, I'd say last year or the year before. I have to say, I didn't
first time. What were you doing?
I don't get it. Like it's not a movie that I would rewatch. Did not like it. Sorry, I'm just not into it. But yeah, everyone seemed to love this LA mansion because it's very timeless. And it's
do you know, I'm going to come out and
more
say that
modern.
LA style for me in general is not, I like the beach houses.
I agree.
But do you know, like I'm selling Sunset, I'll watch all day. I think it's addictive, but I don't like any of the houses.
No, I don't either. But I think this one has a bit more character in it. And I think that's kind of maybe the black frame windows and stuff. But it all is very contrived for me. There's just stuff on display for the sake of having it on display, you know, which I don't know, is not for me. But I still think this is nice. It still has some sort of level of warmth, even though it's fairly pared back. Again, enormous spaces, but like this LA mansion reminds me of Kendall Jenner's last house.
Yeah.
Not the current one with all the pattern and all that. But I loved her last house as well, actually. I love all her houses. I think she's great taste. But like the last house had kind of a big walk through with these kind of black frame doors. And it just had just that tiny bit more character than just the standard clinical LA style.
It's not clinical because she does have like, she has they're not, are these traditional timber frames? They look a bit more kind of crystal style, or they're a slimmer frame anyway, at least the windows in the LA mansion in the Holiday. The couches are all very similar. They've got that kind of cover and skirt looking. There's really textured. The contrast is brought in. There is, you know, very dark, if not black, probably like very, very dark brown, very, very dark green elements around the place, through chairs, through side tables, the window frames themselves. There's curtains everywhere. There's always like lovely draped kind of linen curtains, I would say. And then there's lamps. Yeah. There's just a million lamps. It's the answer to many things, is just throw in a load of lamps.
Yeah.
And sorry, rugs.
But I think there are some
rugs are very similar throughout.
Yeah.
Thethere's like seasell rugs or rattan rugs or whatever. Lovely texture. Yeah. And it works.
But I do think there are houses like this in LA, like Kendall Jenner's house is one. Dakota Johnson, do you know, with her gorgeous green kitchen? That's still an LA style, but it's an LA style where they kind of leaned into what the house used to be. That those slightly kind of, I guess, Spanish kind of influences. Yeah. You know? And I just think that style is lovely if it's leaned into, and that's the traditional style. And maybe that was Crittle, you know? So I think it works.
Yeah, maybe it was. It does look great. Yeah, it looks lovely. Yeah. Do another element that's throughout every single house is bookcases. There's a million bookcases. Just books everywhere. Even in, I think it's in Something's Gotta Give. There's like a little bookcase shelf over one door. Like they're everywhere. Well, she's a writer in that movie. So
is this a bookshelf or is this a DVD
This
shelf?
is DVDs. So in the mansion, LA mansion in the Holiday, it's full of DVDs. But she's a movie trailer producer, so it kind of makes sense. So I quite like that, I have to say.
Yeah, so maybe back then, but like, my God.
Yeah.
If I see anyone with a DVD shelf nowadays, I'm like, you're crazy. Throw them out.
The young ones are all collecting CDs. CDs are in. Yeah, guys, go back to vinyl. CDs were shite. We got rid of them for a reason. They were scratching. But every other house has bookshelves, loads of bookshelves. Yeah. And again, you know, obviously it's curated for a movie, but I wouldn't say perfectly, like it's not perfect straight lines of books. You know, some are stacked, some are on their sides, some have, you know, the little photo frames dotted in through them. And I think that's a really nice way to style books. But there's not, you know, there isn't just one in everyone, that they're kind of throughout many of the rooms is bookshelves, which lends itself to me into that kind of lived in, you know, we use this stuff.
So what would you like to spend a few minutes toward the end? Like, what would you tell people if you wanted to recreate this style? Maybe first in a kitchen, like what would you do?
Before we jump into that, can we just talk about the bedrooms? Because the bedrooms are another very key. There's a lot of time spent in bedrooms, like, you know, on the phone, like Diane Keaton or Meryl Streep, like freaking out about are you writing back to like my online messages, or like, you know, on the phone to your daughter or whatever, like on thing. And they're the same. There's lamps everywhere. Again, it's very textured. There's so many quilts on these beds and blankets. Like I can't even, like, how do you get into the bed? There's just cushions.
I'm not into the bedrooms as much. It's just, again, bedside lockers for me, you know, my feeling. They just gather shit. Yeah. Like the bedside lockers
to me
are
is like
enormous.
a dust magnet. I don't know how this is working out for them.
And these beds that are about like fucking 4 foot off the floor, like you have to jump up onto.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. You're in for like a bit of a job before you get into the bed. Like you really have to move around the cushions, and it just looks hot as well. I'd probably run a bit hot in many of these. I prefer a more minimalist bedroom in general.
Yeah. It's very It's very American, and it's very that kind of hotel level opulence in a bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of stuff.
But cozy, very cozy. I don't know if I personally would have the ability to keep on top of all the dust that would be created from all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, recreating it. Where would you like a lot of the elements we
Kitchens.
talked there are throughout all of the houses? Paneling
They
everything.
are.
Just throw paneling on
I
everything.
think paneling, yeah, a nice neutral palette, nothing too bold, no high contrast, I'd say, in your paints, even if you have different paint choices that they kind of melt into one another throughout the rooms. I think like, you know, even the colors where colors are used are washed out and dusty and distressed if they're rugs or natural rugs like, you know, Cecil or jute or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and then kitchens, I think the cabinets are always neutral. Shaker cabinets, usually in frame, exposed brass
open
hardware.
upper shelving or glass if that's your thing.
And then
everything you use daily on
real
display,
stone on the
as long as it's
countertops.
nice. Yeah, real stone, honed marble, or a soft kind of dark kind of granite. That look I never really loved. Dark countertops, they're just really hard to keep clean. But that was how she brought in the contrast, I suppose, in the Something's Got to Give. But in real life, I just think dark. Some people love them. For me, I find them hard to keep clean. Books everywhere.
I have never
bookshelves.
actually seen a soapstone kind of countertops in Ireland. Do they exist? Do people do that?
If you do, listener, text us and let us know, or message us on Instagram. We don't know, or leave a comment. There's stuff everywhere. It's filled to the brim. Your bowls of lemons. It's practical items. It's not decorative. It's like, you know, it's all your stuff that you can reach for. It's nice for a guest. There's books scattered around. There's like, have an apple, do you know, like help yourself to coffee. It's all there. It's all out. The fresh flowers, the fruit.
And I think lighting, can we talk about lighting?
Oh yeah, key.
Lighting, I think there's no down lights. Like you said, a million lamps. If you're going to have ceiling lights, they have to be diffused in a shade, in a closed in, maybe opal glass or something like that. No direct harsh lighting. And even the under cabinet lights they're all warm, no cool lights.
Yeah, very much so. And lamps everywhere, like lamps. If I would say go add as many lamps as you think is maybe just about too much, and then put in another 2 lamps is probably the right amount of lamps to like recreate the style. But it works. It's so cozy and it's so nice. Like it looks great. Curtains, like really slim linen curtains with a lot of texture and a bit of movement, and like super slim line curtain poles. That she seems to bring in contrast there as well. Like the contrast I think is important because there's very little contrast, as you said, in the paint, in the materials, in the furniture and all that. But then there is dark items placed around the place, and it does give it a lot more depth and interest than just pure, you know, off-white everywhere.
Great. And then the furniture, sofas and that, a lot of loose cover, a lot of cotton, no shine. I would say no shininess on anything really. Same for the curtain fabric, I would say. You know, all matte or linen-y or natural fabrics, which are lovely to clean. So like ideal if you've a load of small kids.
Ideal. Like this is it. Like we're missing a trick with the cover. We moved away from those sofa covers. Should we go back to that? Like ripping it off, throwing it in the washing machine, put it back on. Like that's dreamy.
I actually do have a loose cover sofa. I put it in my kids' playroom for now. It's one of the IKEA ones. I think it's called Hilltarp. It's actually a lovely sofa. I cannot fault it. Like it's a loose cover. You can take off the covers, put them in the washing machine. I've done it and they've been fine. And like,
a lot to be said for it.
I don't know, like they're onto something. Now the velvet's easy to clean, but taking the covers off is a real refresh of your couch.
There's something to be looked at there maybe in all of these houses, is that they don't look difficult to clean. Okay, I was going on about dust, but there's nothing in there that would show up a bit of a handprint or a bit of a, you know, like it looks, it's again very practical, very lived in. Like, and then take that to a very elevated style, lots of natural fabrics.
Yeah.
I love that. French doors everywhere, lots of window paneling. I
would say in general, the rule of thumb here is kind of shy away from modernity in all its forms, whether that's even curtain tracks, like the old wrought iron curtain tracks, you know, everything is old and like it would have been 50 or 60 years ago, and there's nothing modern really. Maybe some LED lighting for that diffuse lighting in kind of coving or under your kitchen or on top of your kitchen or something for that diffuse light. But other than that, I'd say there's nothing that looks modern in the house.
It's really timeless. Like we're 23 years on here from Something's Gotta Give, and that looks really timeless to me.
Yeah.
And maybe that has something to do as well with appliances. Like there's no big, you know, flat screen TVs or like microwaves with like shiny front and, you know, touch buttons on it that would date it. Like it's all very appliance free or technology free, I think.
Agree.
And lots of layering. Let's talk about paint colors for a minute, because we went through this a little bit last week. Like there's a lot of off-white here, and that's one of our favorite topics. And go back through some previous episodes. We've one specific episode on 50 Shades of White, I think we called it. There's one that I was playing with recently that I love for this, or two actually. Roisin Lafferty. I love Roisin Lafferty. It has a prestige collection of paint with Fleetwood, the prestige line, and there's two in there. One's called Seppo and one's called Green Street. Green Street's a good bit kind of a stronger color, but they're both, I think, so gorgeously translated over to an Irish context. And then you have quite a bit of Farrow and Ball through your
I like Schoolhouse White.
Lovely.
Schoolhouse White I've gone back to time and time again. Like I love it. I did a kitchen for someone in James's White before, and it's almost white, but it's got like a teeny tiny hint of green underneath, but it's almost white when you look at it. So I just thought it was a lovely, crisp, fresh kind of white, as opposed to a taupey, creamy white, which I think
hint of green looks so nice in the Irish.
Yeah, it just cools everything down if you're likely to see a bit of yellow. I think slipper satin is a lovely white, although it can show a bit yellow depending on the light. That's a nice soft kind of white. So those are the kind of palettes I think work.
Yeah.
Those kind of colours.
Yeah, agree. And then one more thing to call out that you can recreate. Remember you spoke about before, you got gorgeous kind of linen-y texture curtains in IKEA, do you remember? Do you remember what they were called? Were they Hilja?
I got my shears.
Yeah, your shears, yeah. I think they were Hilja. We'll put them in the show notes.
The original shears I used were Hilja, but the better one that's out now in IKEA is their Stockholm range. They're a bit more expensive, but they're total linen look. And I think they're actually cotton from memory. But I have them for all my cafe curtains in my bedroom, in my ensuite, my toilet downstairs. They're the best if you're going to make your own cafe curtains.
It's just more sheer, I suppose, than what's in that we're talking about in these movies, but it's a nice, affordable way to add some texture and curtains to your windows without blocking out any light, which we really need in Ireland. Okay, that's it for Nancy Meyers. If we missed anything, let us know. We didn't really cover Father of the Bride, which is a classic, but I feel like that look has dated and her signature look has kind of evolved since then.
That reminds me of Laura Ashley.
Yeah, more kind of chintzy, but very lived in again, and really cozy and gorgeous.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we will be back with another iconic house next week.
Talk to you then.
If you found this episode helpful, please hit subscribe, give us a few stars, and best of all, send it to someone else who you think would like it so they can subscribe too. Thank you.